Welcome to another deep dive. And usually when you talk about a business meeting, you expect some kind of clarity.
Right, yeah. You expect answers.
Exactly. Like if you look at the fuel gauge in your car, right? The needle is on E, you need gas, it's on F, you are good to go. It's just a direct reflection of reality.
It's totally binary. You see a metric, and it tells you exactly what physical action to take.
Yeah. But then you step into the world of digital marketing reports, and suddenly that fuel gauge is completely disconnected from the tank. You're looking at a dashboard that is, honestly, it's kind of an illusion.
Oh, absolutely. It's smoke and mirrors a lot of the time.
Right. So today, we are dismantling that illusion. We're looking at this really hard-hitting guide called The Dealership Marketing Audit, questions every GM should ask.
And, while the context here is the automotive industry, the mechanics of what we're going to unpack.
Well, they apply everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. They apply to literally anyone who's trying to figure out where their advertising budget is actually going.
So, okay, let's unpack this, because whether you manage a car dealership or you just run a small business budget, this deep dive is going to completely change how you talk to marketing agencies.
For sure. Because, let's set the scene. Every single month, the exact same meeting happens at dealerships across the country.
Oh, yeah, the monthly recap.
Right. The marketing agency gets on a call. The general manager or GM joins in. And usually, they're squeezing this call in between desk deals, inventory problems, maybe manufacturer pressure.
They are exhausted.
Completely. And maybe the marketing manager is there, maybe the BDC manager. Sometimes nobody from sales is on the call at all.
Which is crazy to think about.
It is. And then the agency shares their screen. And it is just a wall of vanity metrics.
I can picture the deck right now, just slide after slide of impressions, clicks, click-through rates.
Yep. Form fills, spend pacing.
And the ultimate shield for a mediocre agency, just a whole bunch of green arrows pointing up.
Exactly. The green arrows. The agency reads through the deck, right? And they confidently state that the campaigns are, quote, performing well.
Because what else are they going to say?
Right. And the GM nods, the call ends, and absolutely nothing changes on the sales floor.
Wow.
The GM walks back out onto the floor wondering, why it still feels light, why the leads feel so weak, and why those exact same cars are sitting on the lot aging another 30 days.
Because that wasn't actually a strategy meeting, it was performance theater.
Performance theater, that is the perfect term for it.
Yeah, the agency just gave this polite, guided tour through an illusion, and the dealership just accepted it. So our mission today is to equip you with the exact questions needed to turn that monthly update into an interrogation.
But not like a rude one.
No, not emotional, just direct. Because every single dollar you spend on advertising should have to defend itself.
That defense starts with piercing the fog of those vanity metrics.
Right, because if the report says everything is great, but your actual sales floor is empty, you have to ask who is actually driving the ship.
What's fascinating here is that the first question a GM must ask the agency is incredibly simple, but it completely shifts the power dynamic. Which is what?
You ask them, what did you actually change?
What did you actually change?
Not what happened, not what the report says. What did a human being actually change in the account this month?
I have to play devil's advocate here, though. If we're talking about modern digital advertising like Google, Facebook, whatever, isn't the algorithm doing the heavy lifting these days?
Well, yes and no.
Like, why does it matter what the humans at the agency did if the algorithm is designed to optimize itself?
Okay, so think about it this way. The algorithm only optimizes for the specific narrow goals it's fed. And it has absolutely zero real-world context.
Oh, I see.
Right? So an algorithm might notice that people clicking on mobile display ads at, say, 2 in the morning is driving the overall cost per click down. So it just dumps your entire budget there because it thinks cheap is good.
Exactly. But the human being at the agency needs to know that a 2-point Nick AM display click never, ever results in someone actually walking onto a car lot to buy an $80,000 truck.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's like looking at a fitness tracker that says you walked 10,000 steps, but you actually just rode over a bumpy road in a bus.
That is exactly it. So asking, what did a human actually change, cuts through that fog. It forces the agency to prove they're actively managing the account, not just, watching it run on autopilot.
So if they just give a vague answer like, oh, we optimized your campaigns, that's completely unacceptable.
It's the ultimate red flag. A real agency should be able to point to actual work.
What does that sound like? Like, what's a good answer?
The source gives some great examples. A real answer sounds like, we cut spend from branded search because it cannibalized organic traffic.
Okay, specific.
Or, We rebuilt the truck campaign around payment relief instead of generic inventory.
One detail from the text that I really loved was this one. We found that Spanish leads were cheaper but lower quality, so we changed the qualifying questions.
Yes, that one is brilliant.
Right. It shows a human being recognized that the algorithm was succeeding at getting cheap leads, but failing at getting good leads. So they literally intervened to add friction.
Right. They stepped in to adjust the targeting or rewrite the ads based on the reality of the sales floor. If they can't give you a specific list of human actions like that, they're just a spectator to your budget.
But, okay, if human beings are actively changing things, they are inevitably going to make mistakes, right?
Absolutely. 100%.
Which brings us to the next phase of this. And here's where it gets really interesting. We have to move from identifying action to identifying waste.
Yes. The source insists that a GM needs to ask the agency to point out exactly where money was wasted.
But wait, if I'm a GM and I'm stressed out by everything else going on, why on earth would I ask a vendor to show me their failures? Won't a weak agency just dodge the question to save their own skin?
A weak agency will absolutely dodge it. They're trained to only present wins. But a perfect report with only wins isn't a report, it's a sales pitch.
Wow, yeah.
Every single ad account wastes money. That is just normal. Tests fail, creative gets tired, offers miss the mark. The issue isn't the waste itself.
What is it then?
It's whether the agency has the visibility to actually spot the waste and the guts to fix it. If they can't identify where the money was wasted, they aren't looking hard enough.
So what should a GM actually want to hear when they ask that question?
They want to hear things like, hey, this campaign generated cheap clicks, but they didn't convert into appointments.
Okay.
Or this retargeting spend is mostly hitting people who already came back organically anyway. Or this specific offer attracted low credit shoppers instead of the trade-ready customers we needed.
See, that is actually useful failure.
Totally. Because once you map out where the money is bleeding, you can ask the most critical follow-up question.
Which is?
What should be stopped?
Oh, man. Because usually in these meetings, everyone's talking about what to add. What new product we should launch.
Exactly. Dealers always ask what to add. Asking what to kill exposes whether the agency is protecting actual performance or just protecting their own billing.
Because if they recommend killing a massive campaign, their own revenue might drop if they're paid on a percentage of spend.
Right. A real strategist knows that not every campaign deserves another month of budget. So if you ask what should be stopped, and the agency smiles and says, oh, everything should continue, it's all pacing beautifully, you should be deeply suspicious.
There is almost always something that should be cut.
Always.
So once you eliminate the obviously failing campaigns, you have to look at the quote-unquote successful ones. And the source takes us into this massive blind spot, the illusion of demand.
Yes, stolen credit versus incremental growth. This is huge.
And it hinges on, well, what you called earlier the most important word in marketing, incremental.
Yeah.
Did the ad create something new, or did it just intercept existing demand?
Let's break down branded versus non-branded search, because this is where the illusion happens.
Okay, but again, devil's advocate, isn't a lead a lead? If someone clicks a paid ad for my dealership's name on Google and buys a car, shouldn't the agency get a high five?
No, because you likely just paid for a customer you're going to get for free anyway.
Wait, really? Explain that.
Okay, so if a customer types your exact dealership name into a search engine, they have already decided they're looking for you. They are inches away from clicking your free organic website link.
Right, it's right there on the page.
But the agency has placed a paid advertisement right above that free link.
Yeah.
So the customer clicks the paid ad just out of convenience. The agency gets to claim they drove a lead, and you pay a premium for a click you already owned.
It's like owning a restaurant, right? And some guy stands right outside your front door.
Oh, I love this analogy.
Yeah, as your regular customers walk up, he hands them a flyer for your restaurant, watches them walk inside, and then turns to you and demands a marketing commission.
Yes, that is exactly what is happening. The demand wasn't incremental, it was just intercepted.
And agencies love those branded search campaigns because the cost per lead looks artificially incredibly cheap.
Exactly. When they blend those easy stolen wins in with the harder, non-branded terms like someone searching used trucks near me, the overall numbers look amazing.
So a GM has to ask, when our paid brand clicks went up, did our organic brand clicks go down?
Precisely. You have to separate them. And you also have to watch out for platforms like Google's Performance Max.
Oh, right, the automated stuff.
Yeah, it's a black box campaign. Because it uses machine learning to chase the cheapest conversions, it will quietly hide all your brand traffic inside its reporting.
Sneaky.
Extremely. Unless you force the agency to strip the brand data out, you'll never see the truth.
Okay, so we've stripped out the fake demands. Now we have to follow the real leads off the internet and onto the dealership floor. Because the lead is totally useless if it dies in the business development center.
The BBC.
Right. So what does all this mean for the poor salesperson who actually has to pick up the phone?
Well, it means the monthly call cannot stop at just lead volume. The sales floor gets a vote.
Okay.
Because there's a massive difference between a lead and a sales opportunity. And the difference is context.
How so? Give me an example of the CRM handoff breaking down.
Okay, say the agency runs a really targeted ad campaign about payment relief or getting out of a lease early.
High intent, specific pain point.
Exactly. The customer clicks the ad, fills out a form, the agency chalks up a win on their spreadsheet, but their system only sends the name and phone number to the dealership's CRM. It strips away all the context.
Oh no.
So the BDC rep picks up the phone, calls the customer, and just reads the standard script. Hi, what vehicle are you interested in today?
And the customer's just thinking, I literally just told you I want out of my lease.
Right. The handoff is totally broken. The customer feels alienated. The salesperson thinks the lead is garbage, and the agency is sitting there bragging about their conversion rates.
So campaigns have to be judged on conversations, not just forms or clicks.
Exactly. And the same thing goes for phone calls. The source is actually pretty brutal about how misleading phone call metrics can be.
Oh yeah, tell me about that. Because reports always show like hundreds of calls.
But you have to ask, what is a call? Many dashboards track phone clicks, which just means someone tapped the icon on a mobile site but hung up before it even dialed.
But they count it as a lead?
Yep. Or even if it connects, a 7-second call is a wrong number. A 30-second call is someone asking the service department if they're open.
Right.
You need to know how many connected calls lasted over 60 seconds. Because if you don't enforce that, the algorithm will just optimize for volume and place your ads on junk mobile games where people accidentally click the screen.
That's audience network waste?
Bingo.
Okay, so we've put the agency through the ringer, but this leads us to the final and honestly the most uncomfortable part of the deep dive.
The two-way mirror of accountability.
Exactly. Because what if the agency did their job perfectly? It's like that restaurant analogy again. You can't blame the PR agency if the soup is cold. At some point, you have to look at the kitchen.
Yeah, the agency is not the enemy here. The budget is on trial. Marketing can bring you a perfectly contextualized lead, but they cannot fix a bad car or a broken sales process.
Let's look at aged inventory. The agency report shows that your older cars are getting tons of VDP views, vehicle detail page views.
Right. People are looking at the cars online.
But they aren't actually buying them. Don't you have to ask what happened after the click?
You absolutely do.
Yeah.
Did the shopper calculate a payment? Did they submit a chat? Or did they just bounce?
Because if they bounced, it might not be an ad problem. It might be a merchandising problem.
Exactly. The photos might be terrible.
Just shot with a potato.
Right. Or the car is priced $2,000 too high. The ad did its job by getting the customer to the page. The car just failed to sell itself.
And those internal dealership failures happen all the time. Slow lead response, missed calls, offers that the sales floor won't even honor.
Or, like we mentioned earlier, the agency runs a brilliant Spanish language campaign, but the GM hasn't hired a Spanish-speaking salesperson to handle the handoff.
Every single lead just dies right there in the showroom.
Which is why the ultimate recommendation from this source is about who is actually in the room for this monthly call.
It can't just be the GM and the agency.
No. You need the BDC manager. You need the used car manager. You need the sales manager. You have to check the agency's report against the floor reality.
The source suggests replacing that massive 40-slide deck with just a one-page truth.
Yeah, I love that.
Just answering what worked, what failed, what's testing next.
If an agency can't distill their work into those simple answers, they don't understand your business. They only understand their dashboard.
So, to summarize all of this, GMs, and really anyone managing a budget, you need to stop nodding at pretty vanity metrics. You have to start demanding accountability. Treat this meeting like a courtroom where every campaign needs hard evidence.
Absolutely. It's about demanding human accountability over digital automation.
Mm-hmm.
But, looking ahead, this raises a really provocative question for you to ponder.
Oh yeah? What's that?
We spent this whole time talking about interrogating the human levers of marketing, right?
You're right.
But as AI and automation continue to take overwriting the ads, finding the audiences, adjusting the bids, The definition of an ad agency is rapidly changing.
It's all becoming automated.
So in 5 years, when the algorithm truly is doing all the optimization, how is a GM supposed to interrogate a black box AI to ensure their budget is defending itself?
Wow.
Who do you put on trial when there are no humans left to question?
That is a massive question, and definitely something for you to mull over before your next budget review. Thanks so much for joining us on this deep dive. We'll see you next time.